Breaking Bad Explained.
So this is a quick bonus episode where we're stepping away from Walter White's descent and just talking about the people who made this show. The actors, the creator, the folks behind the camera in that first season.
Yeah, because Breaking Bad really announced itself as something different right out of the gate. And a lot of that comes down to Vince Gilligan, who created it. He'd been a writer and producer on The X-Files for years, like 9 seasons of that show.
Right, and you can feel that influence. The X-Files had this way of building dread, of making ordinary places feel sinister. Gilligan brought that sensibility to Albuquerque, of all places.
He's talked about how he wanted to take Mr. Chips and turn him into Scarface, which is such a clean, high concept. But it's also kind of deceptive, because the show's way more psychologically complex than that pitch suggests.
And then you've got Bryan Cranston as Walter White, which was apparently a hard sell to the network at first, because everyone knew him as the goofy dad from Malcolm in the Middle.
Which ran for 7 seasons. He was Hal, the lovable disaster in Tighty Whities. But Gilligan remembered him from an X-Files episode, Drive, I think, where Cranston played this intensely desperate guy, and Gilligan knew he had range.
That's the thing about Cranston. He's got this everyman quality. But there's also something simmering underneath. He started as a comedy guy, doing soap operas and sitcoms, but he can turn on a dime.
He's also apparently meticulous about preparation. There are stories about him researching cancer patients, talking to doctors, really getting into the physical and psychological reality of the diagnosis.
And opposite him, you've got Aaron Paul as Jesse Pinkman, who was originally supposed to die in season 1.
Right, Jesse was meant to be killed off early, but Paul's performance changed their plans entirely. He was in his late 20s playing younger, and he brought this wounded, almost puppy dog quality to the character.
Paul was mostly doing small TV roles before this. Guest spots, bit parts. Breaking Bad was his breakout, and apparently he really threw himself into it. There's that rawness to Jesse that feels completely unguarded.
And then Anna Gunn as Skylar, who had done a bunch of TV, Deadwood, The Practice. She's playing the wife who's trying to hold everything together while having no idea what's actually happening.
Gunn's interesting because Skylar becomes such a controversial character as the show goes on. But that's a testament to how fully she commits to the role. She's not playing for likability. She's playing someone trapped in an impossible situation.
Dean Norris as Hank is another one who'd been working forever. Character actor showing up in movies and TV for years. He's got this big, boisterous energy that makes Hank feel lived in from the first scene.
He's great at playing that surface-level confidence while hinting at something more fragile underneath. Hank could have been a cartoon, but Norris gives him dimension.
And RJ Mitte, who plays Walter Jr., actually has cerebral palsy in real life, though a milder form than the character. That was a deliberate casting choice. They wanted authenticity.
Mitte was a teenager with basically no acting experience when he got cast, which is kind of remarkable. He's playing opposite Bryan Cranston and more than holding his own.
Betsy Brandt as Marie brings this nervous energy that's both comedic and kind of sad. She'd done a lot of guest spots, ER, Judging Amy, but Marie is such a specific creation.
The kleptomania storyline in season 1 really showcases what she does well. Marie's both irritating and sympathetic, and Brandt doesn't shy away from either side.
Then you've got the supporting players. Raymond Cruz as Tuco is genuinely frightening. He's got this unpredictability that feels dangerous.
Cruz had been around Training Day, the closer, but Tuco is on another level. Apparently, he's very mild-mannered in real life, which makes the intensity of that performance even more impressive.
And the directors in season 1, Vince Gilligan directed the pilot, which sets the whole visual tone. Then you've got Adam Bernstein, who'd done a lot of Fargo and Scrubs, which is such a range.
Bernstein directed episodes 2 and 3, which are these claustrophobic, almost suffocating episodes about Walter dealing with Crazy 8. Totally different vibe from his comedy work.
Jim McKay came in for episode 5. He's more of an indie film guy, Our Song, Everyday People, and he brings this naturalistic touch to the family intervention stuff.
Then Bronwyn Hughes for episode 6, Crazy Handful of Nothing, which is the big Heisenberg moment. She'd done a lot of TV, Journeyman, The Wire, and that episode has such propulsive energy.
And Tim Hunter for the season finale. He's a veteran, directed the pilot of Twin Peaks, worked on Mad Men, knows how to build tension.
The writing staff that first season was pretty small. Gilligan, obviously. Then you've got Patty Lynn, who'd written for Friends and Desperate Housewives, which seems like an odd fit until you realize she's great with character dynamics.
And Peter Gould, who co-wrote episode 6 with Gilligan, he's the one who came up with Saul Goodman later, becomes a huge part of the Breaking Bad universe.
George Mastras wrote the season finale. He'd worked with Gilligan on The X-Files, so there's that trust there. A lot of the writer's room was people Gilligan had history with.
It's kind of amazing that this dark, violent show about meth manufacturing came out of AMC, which at the time was mostly known for old movies. Mad Men had just started, but cable was still figuring out prestige drama.
And they shot in Albuquerque, which was partly a tax incentive thing, but it became so integral to the show's identity. The desert, the light, the sprawl. It's practically a character.
Cranston has talked about how shooting in Albuquerque kept them out of the LA bubble, made it feel more real. And the crew was largely local, which gave it this grounded quality.
There's also something to be said for the fact that this wasn't a star-studded production. It was character actors and a sitcom dad doing something nobody expected.
Right. And Gilligan's background in genre TV meant he knew how to structure suspense, how to pay off setups, how to make every episode feel essential. That X-Files training really shows.
All right, that's the bonus. Just wanted to give some context on the people who put this thing together.
Back to the episodes next time.